Today I'm going to show you how to make a mango custard crepe. The mango custard itself is lactose free, but the crepe is not. So I've put a link to a lactose free crepe recipe down below. Normally on this channel I tend to show you Japanese recipes, but that's not always going to be the case. For example, today, the mango custard crepe is not a Japanese recipe. It's simply a summary recipe that I wanted to show you guys. However, it is inspired by a Japanese recipe that I saw on a Japanese recipe website, which was for an orange custard crepe. They didn't actually put any orange in the custard itself, whereas this time we will be putting some mango into the custard, and we'll be using coconut milk instead of normal milk to bring out some of those tropical flavors. The reason that I'm going for mango this week is because if you saw my video last week, I used mango in my fruit sandwiches. However, I only used a really small amount and I ended up with loads of mango left over. So I left that in the fridge and let it get a bit soft, and that meant that it is perfect for pureeing and putting into a custard. In Japan, there are loads of different types of crepes, particularly in Harajuku. You can always find like a cream and strawberries, there's always chocolate. Sometimes they put a whole piece of chocolate brownie or a whole cheesecake in there. They're really intense, and I'm sure there's a mango custard crepe somewhere in Japan, but I haven't seen it. So I thought I'd just give it a go for myself. This is a great summer recipe, and to me, mango is the perfect summer fruit. So let's take a look at how to make these mango custard crepes. So these are the ingredients that you'll need for the mango custard crepes. I use potato starch here, but you can use cornstarch or even all-purpose flour. And I use some mint for decoration. So we're going to start with our mango. This is half a mango that I kept in the fridge until it got really soft and ripe. The softer it is, the easier it is to blend, and the softer your custard will be. Trust me, if you try to do this with an underripe mango, you'll end up with a weirdly textured custard. Then we're just going to cut around the stone, and then use one of those internet hacks to peel off the skin using a cup. Let's see how this goes. Oh, it actually works quite well. 10 out of 10 would recommend on a ripe mango. So just do that for all your pieces, and then we're going to put them all into a blender. And then we're just going to keep blending that until we've got a nice smooth mango puree. Once that's done, it's time to bring in the coconut. If you've got canned coconut milk like this, then it's a good idea to give it a stir so that the liquids and solids aren't separated. Overall, we're going to use 150 milliliters of coconut milk, but we're going to pour about half of that into a pan and heat it up. And seeing as we don't have too much, it won't take too long on a medium heat to get your coconut milk nice and bubbly. So once it's just started to bubble evenly across the surface, then take it off the heat. Then go back to the other half of your unheated coconut milk and add 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. This is what's going to thicken our custard. Stir to combine and then add that into our mango puree. Then I added 1 tablespoon of sugar, but this is fairly mild, so if you would like to make it sweeter, then feel free to add more sugar to adjust for your tastes. Then drop in your egg and whiz it all up. And just keep it on a constant blend until everything is combined and it's a nice uniform pale yellow. Then drop all of that into your heated coconut milk, switch on the heat and stir to combine. Then on a medium heat, just keep stirring and stirring until it starts to thicken to your liking. I would recommend keeping your mango custard fairly thick so that it doesn't seep out of your crepe. So when you pull your spatula through it, it should leave a bit of a trail. Then put that all into a bowl and cool it down to room temperature before putting it into the fridge for at least 2 hours. Then grab the rest of your mango, or an entirely new mango. I have got a little apple mango here. Then we're just going to cut it around the stone again, peel it with our exciting fancy cup trick, and cut it into aesthetically pleasing slices. We're going to be putting a few inside the crepe and then a few on the plate as decoration. So here I've simply cut a section in half and cut that into slices. Then, because of the slightly rough exterior, I've just neatened it up by cutting off a slice around the edge. This totally isn't an excuse for me to just have a mid-cooking mango snack. If you found this useful so far, then don't forget to hit that like button, but now let's move on to the crepe. Now we're going to measure out 50 grams of cake flour, which we'll then put into a bowl. Then measure 150 milliliters of milk, which we'll keep to one side. Then we're going to make a little well into the center of our flour to crack in our egg. Okay, so that didn't work perfectly, but you get the idea. Then add just a drizzle of milk and start whisking from the center. We want to slowly incorporate the flour in from the sides. The reason that we do this is so that we don't get a really lumpy batter. Then once you've combined everything and it's turned into a bit of a thick batter that's almost paste-like, it's time to start adding more milk. First, just drizzle in a little bit to loosen up the batter. And then you can start slowly pouring in the entirety of the milk whilst whisking. And then you should get a nice lump-free thin crepe batter. Then to get rid of some of the bubbles, you can put it into the fridge for an hour or so. I only put mine in the fridge for about 15 minutes, but it did make a little bit of a difference. Then oil up a non-stick pan so you've got a nice even coating all around. Then put it on a medium-high heat and don't start until it's hot enough. Then once it's hot enough, get a ladle or something with an easy pour spout. Then pour the crepe batter into the pan, being ready to tilt the pan around to make sure that you cover the bottom of the pan with a thin and even layer of crepe batter. If you've got it on the right heat, then it should only take about 30 seconds to cook on one side. Then we just need to flip it. Okay, or maybe not. If you can't flip it in the air, then just use a spatula and quickly turn it around the other way. Then after another 30 seconds, check how the bottom is doing, and if it looks done enough for you, then take it off the heat. Then put the crepe onto a plate to let it cool down. I personally like the kind of rustic look, so I've done it until these brown spots appear. Once it's cool to the touch, which won't take long because it's so thin, get a bowl or a small container to help shape the crepe. To be honest, this is slightly unnecessary if you have thick enough custard, but it just helps keep everything in the center. Then grab a spoon and start ladling your cooled mango custard into the crepe. And be careful not to overfill it. Then add a few strips of mango and cover it with a small spoonful of custard. Then start folding in your crepe. I found that it was easiest to do the bottom, then the sides, and then the top. Then if you have a small enough plate, then use the plate and put it over the top of the bowl and just turn it upside down. However, it's just me who's going to be eating this, so I just use my hands. Ta-da! Then try your best to arrange some mango aesthetically on the plate. Here's a secret. I actually don't really like mint, but it looks really pretty. I guess I'll have to find out something to do with that mint afterwards. Something like mint provides a good pop of colour for this mostly yellow and orange dish, so that it can be perfect for the gram. Although this isn't one of my usual Japanese recipes, this is a great summer dessert. The mango and coconut go perfectly, and they create some tropical summer vibes. But this is definitely something that I want to eat refrigerated, so it does take a little bit of prep time. I hope you liked that little break from Japanese cuisine this week, but don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you can find out more recipes. I put up a new video every Sunday. But that's all for now. See you next week. Bye!